Welcome to The Lead Word. This is your host, Chad Bauman. With me, as always, my partner, Trey Daubert. Trey, how's it going today?
I'm all right. I'm hanging in there. I'm just trying to figure out who's going to win the Super Bowl, which is kind of what we're going to talk about today here, Chad. Haven't done a show in a while. It's good to be back.
Yeah, I haven't done a show in a while. Not that we didn't want to. We had one planned for after the wild card weekend, but plans fell through. Then, Trey, you were going through some personal stuff. Won't get into that, because not my business. And then we just kind of never got a show going. That's really all it amounts to, us not getting one going.
All right, so I guess I'll kind of start off here. I've been thinking about who's going to win this Super Bowl. And tell me if you think I sound crazy, but I think San Francisco's the more complete team, but it's not just that. Andy Reid not only has to beat Kyle Shanahan, which, granted, both excellent head coaches. He has to beat Mike Shanahan, and I also think he has to beat Bill Belichick. Chad, you might think I sound crazy, but Brady and Belichick are going back and forth on this whole thing where Brady's pissed and he wants more credit, and Bill's pissed. He wanted Garoppolo. Bill wants Jimmy Garoppolo to win this Super Bowl, to say, ha-ha, I told you I was right. I should have kept this guy. This is the guy we could have kept winning with. He wants Garoppolo to win the Super Bowl. And any secrets that he has on Andy Reid that'll help him, I think he's been texting Shanahan. I think he's been texting Jimmy Garoppolo. Bill Belichick wants Jimmy Garoppolo to win the Super Bowl.
I'm usually not one for conspiracy theories. But, yeah, I mean, given what we know about Bill Belichick, I don't want to say that guy's certifiably insane.
Yes.
But, he's kind of, crazy. And so I could see him be like, hey, this is what you got to do.
He wants Garoppolo to win the Super Bowl. He wants to be proven right. Because whenever that Garoppolo trade happened, he sat there and said, this is the guy we want. We want to get rid of Brady. And Kraft stepped in and he didn't let it happen. He wants Garoppolo. If you think back to that trade, they could have got more than a second-round pick for Garoppolo. They got, nothing.
You get nothing. You lose. Good day, sir.
He said, we're going to give you to Kyle Shanahan. We're going to put you in a position to succeed. And now that you're in the Super Bowl, we don't want Andy Reid winning it. We want our guy to win it because, hey, I was right. You think I'm nuts?
No, I don't think you're nuts. I think it's very plausible given Bill Belichick's personality as a person. But at the same time, I feel like given what we know about Bill Belichick, he's not focused on helping someone else win the Super Bowl. When they won the Super Bowl a couple years ago and Bill Belichick, we're 2 weeks behind everyone else in the offseason now, was a quote that he had. So I don't think he's going to be devoting his time to helping someone else win the Super Bowl and getting behind in the offseason.
Well, he hasn't been very good at drafting for a while, so hopefully he steps that up. He hasn't had a good draft in 5 years.
Yeah, but they're still winning, so can't be terrible drafts.
I don't know. I think a lot of this, I think he's vindictive. Let's think about this, Chad. Gronk retires. He doesn't get a tight end. That's crazy to me. How do you just ignore the tight end position? He wanted Brady to fail this year.
Well,
He didn't get a tight end. Ben Watson, he rolled him out of retirement. He couldn't play a lick. Ignored it in the draft. Didn't take one. Didn't sign one.
Well,
he's vindictive, Chad.
Well, they did sign Austin Seferian-Jenkins, but then he, I don't know, retired or maybe he died. We don't know where he is.
I don't know. I just think when you think about it, I think San Francisco's the more complete team. Richard Sherman's probably not a great matchup for Tyreek Hill, but he's still a great corner. And since they've gotten Quan Alexander back, they got some good speed at linebacker to keep up, and Fred Warner's been playing well. And nobody has really been able to contain that defensive line, and Nick Bosa is going to cause problems. Can Patrick Mahomes really carry him by himself? And I know he's got great weapons, but this isn't like Tennessee where they just were running the ball and we're going to hope and pray we can stop Patrick Mahomes. San Francisco, they got 3 or 4 backs that can come in there, and it's all scheme-based, and Shanahan's going to control the clock, and Garoppolo, if it comes down to it, we saw it in that Saints game, Garoppolo can win the shootouts. I'm leaning towards San Fran.
I'm going Chiefs, and I'll tell you why. Everything you said, I'm not going to argue with. Yes, I feel like team-wise, San Fran's the more complete team. But when I look at the Chiefs' offense, there's nothing but a bunch of stallions on the field for the Chiefs on offense. I used this analogy before. The Chiefs have a bunch of Ferraris out there on offense at their skill positions. Patrick Mahomes, I don't know what the exact stat is, but he's one of the least sacked quarterbacks in the league. I know that. And
I think you're right.
Andy Reid finds creative ways to get the ball out of Patrick Mahomes' hands. And I think to Andy's credit, that's something that when he was in Philadelphia, his offense is completely different now than it was when he was with the Eagles. He's changed so much about his scheme, and he adapted so much to the way offenses work in the NFL now.
Things are definitely more spread out than they were back then.
So, I mean, there's some things where Andy the designs that he comes up with, they're just brilliant. I don't know where he came up with them from.
There's no denying Andy Reid's one of the best coaches in the NFL. I think this game comes down to Garoppolo, though. I think Mahomes is going to get his. I don't think he's going to get his like he did against the Titans or the Texans, but I think he's going to put up points. It's a matter of if Garoppolo, how many big throws is Garoppolo going to make? I think that's what it comes down to. And I don't know. I don't trust the Chiefs' defense a ton, really. I think Terrell Suggs has helped them somehow. Frank Clark can get after the pass rusher, but do you really trust the Chiefs' defense here?
It's not going to happen.
No, I don't. I don't, and that's why I agreed with what you said before that San Fran's the more complete team. But I think the Chiefs' offense is so good that it just makes up for their defensive deficiencies. Because what was it when they played Houston? They scored what? What was it? 7 straight touchdowns?
Let's say this, though. The NFC is significantly better than the AFC. You could have taken Green Bay. You could have taken Seattle. You could have taken 4 or 5 teams that were better than Houston and Tennessee. So Kansas City really hasn't played anyone particularly tough.
I don't agree with that.
But
I don't agree with that because I think Tennessee was tough. I think they got exposed with, Ryan Tannehill at quarterback, but that's really the only piece that Tennessee was missing. I mean, once the Chiefs shut down, Derrick Henry and forced the ball into Tannehill's hands, that's when, the Cinderella story came crashing down. But I still, I don't think you can say that, Houston or the Chiefs weren't competition, or Houston or Tennessee wasn't competition. But another thing about the Chiefs they don't have a great defense, but they do get turnovers. And I do know that about them. They're very good at getting turnovers.
I worry about them stopping the run. Now, they were great last week, but there were times this year where Kansas City was bad against the run, and I just don't know who guards George Kittle. Who's covering George Kittle?
I'm going to tell you right now, my X factor for this game, it's not anybody on the offense. Tyrann Mathieu. If he has a good game, the Chiefs are going to win.
He's been outstanding all year.
He's the guy that's going to be covering George Kittle. I guarantee it.
Can he win that matchup? Because I don't know. Look, Tyrann Mathieu's great, but I don't know that it's a great matchup for him because of how big Kittle is. He's given up a lot of inches there.
I mean, that's true. And they're both great players. And I do think that as good as Tyrann Mathieu is, George Kittle's better. But it's not going to be something where Mathieu has to be perfect and shut down Kittle. This is just something where he just has to limit his big plays and come up with a few big plays of his own.
Here's another thing I've been thinking of. Are we sure the Chiefs have better weapons than San Fran? Are we positive? And I know the Chiefs' weapons are ridiculous. But when you add it all up, I think the way Raheem Mostert's running, he's the best running back on the field. Would you agree with that?
I would say that there's a lot of Shanna magic in there.
Yes, no doubt. But I'm saying the way he's performing with all that, he's the best running back on the field.
Well, he's definitely answering the call. I'll give you that.
Then we look at Kittle and Kelsey, both fantastic. But you got to give a slight, maybe an inch edge to Kittle.
I think it depends on what you're asking them to do, what their role is. But I would say maybe overall Kittle's a better just because he has better hands, I think, than Kelsey does.
So right there, we're taking two out of two. Now you would obviously take Tyreek Hill, but I think Deebo Samuel's better than Sammy Watkins. And yes, Emmanuel Sanders loses to Tyreek Hill, but I think Samuel's better than Sammy Watkins, and then you're looking at 3 out of 4.
I don't know. I think as a whole, the Chiefs receiving core is better than San Fran's.
When you add in McCall Hardman and you add in Robinson, yeah, but I think Kansas City's weapons is a little overblown because I don't think San Fran, I don't think they're that far behind. I think they have great weapons.
I mean, they do. I'm not going to lie. Like you said, Deebo Samuel, he's been a good young receiver for them, but I'm taking the Chiefs receiving core as a whole, and I put that above what I see as from San Fran as a whole.
So, Chad, you had something about Andy Reid. Why don't we dive into that? And then we'll come up with our predictions for the score and everything.
Okay, so what I wanted to talk about with Andy Reid is something that, listening to Philly Sports Talk Radio, a lot of people, they're talking about, are you rooting for or against Andy Reid? A lot of Eagles fans, they're saying that they're rooting against Andy Reid. And the reason why they're rooting against Andy Reid is because, he never did anything for Philly. He never won a championship for Philly. And the way I look at that, I'm like, hey, look, man, you don't have to root for Andy Reid, but to actively root against him because of that doesn't make any sense to me. Because when you really look at the history of the Eagles, before Andy Reid got here, outside of a few seasons here and there, the Eagles pretty much sucked their entire history.
You suck.
They were good before the Super Bowl era. Then they sucked during the Super Bowl era. Dick Vermeil takes over. We go to the Super Bowl and he loses. Then, you suck for pretty much a good long while after that. Buddy Ryan comes in, builds a pretty great defense, but they never really make it in a really deep playoff run. Even though they got gypped in the Fog Bowl, I will say that. And then there's a few more years of sucking after, Buddy Ryan until Andy Reid comes in. And then you have 4 straight NFC Championship appearances. And if you look at who they lost to, they lost to the Panthers, who a bunch of guys on that team were on roids. They lost to the Buccaneers, who went on to win the Super Bowl. People are talking about Andy Reid years like, oh, he didn't do anything for us. He pretty much set the standard for Philadelphia Eagles football for this millennium, the year 2000.
I know I've been a lot of pro San Fran this episode, but if Kansas City wins, I have no problem with it. I love Andy Reid. In my lifetime, there has not been a head coach who has been better with quarterbacks than him.
Hail to the king, baby.
It's just, I don't think it's arguable. Donovan McNabb had some awesome years, and I don't think he was really that good. Kevin Kolb played out of his mind. He wasn't good either. They got a second-round pick for A.J. Feely, Chad. That guy fucking sucked. He was horrible. He took Michael Vick out of jail. Michael Vick got out of jail and took him to the playoffs. Nobody has been better with quarterbacks in my lifetime than Andy Reid. And you did win a Super Bowl with an Andy Reid assistant, so he kind of did win you a Super Bowl, but not really. Kind of.
That too. I'm just saying, like, to say Andy Reid hasn't done anything for the Eagles, that's so asinine. It's hard to wrap my brain around, because one of the things that kills me, Eagles fans hate Andy Reid. I don't know why, but they hate Andy Reid. But they love Dick Vermeil, who came in, took the Eagles to a Super Bowl, lost, and then pieced out immediately afterwards. Like, how do you love Dick Vermeil, but you hate Andy Reid, who arguably Andy Reid had 10 times more success with the Eagles than Dick Vermeil did?
I want to say this. Brian Westbrook is one of the most revered Eagles of all time. Would you agree that Andy Reid revolutionized the screen game in the NFL? Before Andy Reid, screens were not a big deal. Andy Reid came in, and Brian Westbrook was the most lethal weapon out of the backfield on screens in the NFL.
Since Roger Craig. Yeah.
Like, when I think of the screen pass, I think of Westbrook on Philadelphia killing people. Andy Reid was the best screen caller in the league with Philadelphia.
Not to mention what he was able to do with the tight ends in the screen game, too. Because that was something you didn't see that often until Andy Reid started doing it, was screens to the tight end.
He's a phenomenal head coach. I don't know how any Eagles fan could be mad at him. And that year before they got rid of him, his son had drug problems or whatever. They're like, come on. You're going to put that on Andy? I don't know. Like, I love the guy. I think he's fantastic.
Yeah, I just wanted to bring that up because I don't get how Eagles fans have so much just vitriol in their stomachs for Andy Reid.
Well, you got me. By all accounts, it doesn't make sense.
Like, you should be worshiping the ground he walks on.
All right, Chad. Do we have a final score for the game? Any prediction?
Yeah, I think it's going to be high scoring. Or both of these offenses, maybe even a defensive score on San Francisco's end. I'm thinking like I'm going to say like 35-31 Chiefs.
I'm going to go 31-27 San Fran.
I mean, I could see that. I still think the Chiefs are going to win. But we'll see.
Do you have any like MVP predictions, coin toss predictions, color of the Gatorade predictions? I know these prop bets are huge.
MVP, I think it's going to be what it always is it's going to be the quarterback of the winning team.
See, I think like somebody weird will win it on San Fran. Jimmy won't get it. It'll be like a Mostert or Richard Sherman will take a pick six to the house and he'll win it. If San Fran wins the Super Bowl, somebody weird will win the MVP.
Well, right. You're predicting San Fran to win. I'm predicting the Chiefs to win, so that's why I'm saying it's going to be the quarterback.
All right, Chad. Good return episode.
Yeah, so after the Super Bowl, we're going to, obviously start our, off-season stuff. I think all the head coaching positions have been filled, so there's nothing to talk about with that. And, you know, obviously draft stuff will be big in the next few months. You know, free agent signings, who's going where. We'll get into that stuff too. Other than that, yeah, I agree. Good return episode. Don't forget to give Trey a follow at Trey Daubert, TreyDaubert. On Twitter. Follow me on Twitter at Lilfooted, LALFOOTED. Don't forget to follow the main page, Vendetta_media. Check us out on YouTube. Trey's FIFA series. New. We're already at like what, 29 episodes?
30.
30 episodes?
Do you like it, Chad?
Oh, I'm a big fan. Big fan. Very entertaining. More importantly, I'm learning the secrets on how to beat Trey in FIFA. I beat him like one time, I think, since I've known him. So we're trying to up that. Taking notes. So don't forget to check out that YouTube channel. Go ahead and subscribe. Other than that, thanks for giving us a listen. We'll see you next week.